Gregory Ulmer informs his readers of Electricity that the tree is already an image of the world, or rather, the root is the image of the tree, and many people have a tree planted in their heads. But the brain itself is much more like a grass. In itself, the rhizome, the continuously growing root of a tree's production, has very diverse forms, from its surface extension, which ramifies in all directions, to its concretions, and to its bulbs and tubers. Tubers provide energy and nutrients for regrowth and reproduction. In her book, Participatory Composition, Sarah Arroyo uses tubers to make an analogous connection to YouTube by characterizing YouTube as an ever-changing and growing networked ecology upon which tubers, or participants participating in YouTube culture, drift and reinvent meaning through the proposing of rhizomatic tubes. When I think of Electricity, I am drawn to Gregory Ulmer's rhizomatic image of a tree bearing the fruits of invention, seamlessly flowing with potential. Then I imagine some, but certainly not all, of the constituent branches of the same tree nurtured by Electricity: subjectivity, rhetoric, participatory cultures, and the pedagogical potential of YouTube. It is difficult to conceive of this analogous tree's connection to YouTube, especially when its constituent parts are numerous, and its electric potential has yet to be fully understood as its theoretical potential is still emerging. But in an effort to create a visual simplification of this video tree, I have chosen to focus on only 3 of its parts after watching and reading the responses to the following video.
Do you know who started the fire in this school?
After watching and reading the comments from this video on YouTube depicting a former high school teacher from Tennessee lose not only control of his class, but what appears to be left of his sanity, I chose to focus on 3 things that I felt rose out of it: normative ethics, subject and subjectivity, and rhetorical invention. The video received over 800,000 views and over 4,000 comments. The commentary is the foundation of participatory culture, the root of continuously growing ideas, expressions, and reciprocation. One of the underbellies of participatory culture, however, is the willingness of some of its participants to disrespect the subject or subject in it. But participatory cultures, as they emerge, create a curious ethical ethos that could evolve into the moral standard within participatory culture that governs it. For example, the most disturbing comments made about this video were racially motivated. These comments are not worth repeating, but the comments expressing moral indignation arising from racially motivated comments are worthy of note, as these are the comments that set the moral standard or normative ethic, a classification within Western philosophy that attempts to derive its standard of right and wrong from subjectively interpreted social behavior. Here we see this taking place with the following responses. Subjectivity in participatory culture focuses on the subject in the video that acts as the singularity from which the subject materializes in a number of different ways within video culture. Sarah Arroyo focuses on subjects as de-edipolized or unrestrained by critical pedagogy. This is further reinforced by Gregory Ulmer, who argues that pedagogical tone of literacy will not do for electracy. Dr. Arroyo characterizes these subjects as the socially networked tubers who appear to be carrying apathetic attitudes toward politics, civic engagement, and varying forms of activism. This is demonstrated in the commentary on the subject of the teacher losing control of his classroom. The following comments are what arose from an unrestrained participatory culture.
A group of cackling girls at the end of the bar.
Do you want me to add it to your tab?
Do I have a tab?
You do have a tab.
Well, then add it.
The subjective nature of all the comments bring together varying perspectives of social, political, ethical, and cultural standards determined by participants within the construct of participatory culture. The significance of these comments are not necessarily the comments themselves, but what the comments can contribute to rhetorical invention. According to Ulmer, electracy is, to digital media, what literacy is to print, which is profoundly relevant to the rhetoric that arises out of participatory culture. The commentary in participatory culture is dependent upon literacy, but the subject is not devalued by restrictions to formulaic styles of writing or thinking. Instead, what is produced is the root of invention. Every comment gives insight into a more universal perspective. The subject is no longer a teacher losing his mind while trying to conduct a classroom full of unruly students. Video culture has given rise to something much greater than that. And what we come to learn is that each and every one of us, as a tuber and a member of participatory culture, holds a stake in what goes into creating the subject and inventing everything that comes out of it.
It's called bar talk.